and welcome to this special session all about auto-enrolment in Ireland. I'm Bex Barnett and I'm joined by Adrian Foley, Managing Director of Access Group Ireland, and Darren Brennan, who's our Product Manager for People XD. Over the course of the next 10 or 15 minutes, we're going to tell you everything that you need to know and be aware of about the forthcoming legislation around auto-enrolment for pensions called My Future Fund. So Adrian, over to you. First of all, what are the absolute must-knows around the auto-enrolment legislation?
Okay, so 1st of January 2026, all Irish businesses need to be compliant with the new legislation that is coming in. It's going into law on the 1st of January 2026. So for all employees between the age of 23 and 60, they will be auto-enrolled. And businesses need to understand what that means and how they're going to deal with that. And lots of criteria around that. So you got to earn more than 20k. There's options if you're 18 to 25, etc., etc. And Darren will talk a little bit more about some of those details. But an awful lot going on from January 1st.
And it affects every Irish business?
All Irish businesses, yes.
Okay. So Darren, let's talk a little bit about the maths and the numbers. So do you want to talk us through that a little bit?
Yeah, the key number is 1.5 and that's the percentage that the employee and the employer contribution are going to be based off. The key thing to be aware of from an employer perspective is that's 1.5% of the revenue gross pay. So quite often with pension schemes, you're used to certain payments like maybe overtime or taxable expenses not being pensionable. With auto-enrolment, all those payments are coming into scope. Any taxable payment you make, anything that's considered part of revenue gross pay, like the overtime, like the bonus, like the stock payments.
Car allowances.
All of that. VIK is another great example, actually. Medical insurance, they're all going to be subject to auto-enrolment deduction if an employee is enrolled.
So it's 1.5% of the full remuneration package?
Yes, for the employee and the employer. In addition, there's also a government state top-up, which is a third. So there's going to be 1.5 the employee, 1.5 the employer, and a government top-up as well.
And the government top-up at 1.5% is how much?
It's a third, so it's going to be 0.5.
Okay, understood. Does that change over time, the length of time that you're enrolled in the pension scheme, or does it stay at 1.5%?
Yeah, so those percentages initially are for the go live, and there is a staged period where they will increment over a number of years, and eventually the percentages will go up to 6% for the employee, 6% for the employer, and 2% for the government state top-up.
So a total, you max out at about 14% over
Correct.
A period of years. Okay,
yeah.
That makes sense. So Darren, let's talk about, and Adrian, the impact on business, because it's a significant legislative change. We've seen it done in the UK, Ireland are next. And I feel like from what, the conversations we've had, there's a lot of misinformation out there. So I'm keen that we stick to some real facts, but we also are really helping businesses and our customers particularly get to grips with what needs to happen. So Darren, what are the impacts on businesses that they need to be thinking about?
Yeah, so the main impact is really going to be the whole integration to your payroll. And in that sense, the biggest challenge is going to be from January 2026, every payroll platform out there is going to have to be updated to support compliance and connection with NERSA. So what that means is basically NERSA are the National Auto-Enrolment Retirement Savings Authority. Mm-hmm. And that means every payroll product is going to have an ability to connect to NERSA, retrieve the instruction from them in terms of who should be enrolled. Mm-hmm. That comes in via what's called an AEPN, an Auto-Enrolment Payroll Notification. It's very similar to the Revenue RPN, the Revenue Payroll Notification. And basically the AEPN gives you the instruction of who in your workforce needs to be enrolled, what the rules are that get applied to that enrolment. So for example, initially the contribution percentage is going to be 1.5%. That'll come in on that instruction. You'll apply it in your payroll. There are a number of technical challenges though. And probably one of the biggest ones is going to be, this is a real-time live data feed from NERSA to your payroll system. So you're going to need to have a secure connection that you can actually retrieve that information in time for processing for your next payroll run. At the end of your payroll run, you're also going to have a contribution submission file that you need to send back to NERSA to say, here are the employees that we've processed, here are the contribution amounts for the employee and the employer, so that they have the information of who you've actually processed and they can collect the money from you for the auto-enrolment contributions. That auto-enrolment contribution submission file must be sent on or before the employee's pay date. So that's a big change from existing pension funds where you might be used to reporting monthly. Whereas with this, every time you pay your employees, you have to make sure you do a return to NERSA as well. In addition, the contribution report made has quite significant validation and error handling that have to be applied in real time. So practically for employers, that's going to be one huge area. The second huge area for employers is going to be when you look at corrections, the window and the rules for how corrections can be made underneath the auto-enrolment system are quite restrictive. And that's something we'll talk more about in our conference later in the year. And in addition, the reconciliation, employers are going to want a system that they can reconcile what their liability is versus what they've actually paid over to make sure they're getting all the information out of the system to balance to NERSA. That all needs to happen seamlessly with your existing HR and payroll ecosystem, so without disrupting your current day-to-day processes, and it needs to just flow seamlessly into the existing runs. From a implementation perspective, we would recommend you're looking for a system that has stringent validation, reconciliation functionality, and is heavily integrated to NERSA so that you can complete that as a smooth automated process. You don't have to go outside the system to do something. It's all managed within the one application.
So a huge reliance on the technology, because it sounds complicated. You've done a brilliant job of explaining it, but the technology solution talking between your payroll system and NERSA has got to be absolutely bang on. So I want to talk, Darren, very specifically about what we're doing for our People XD customers.
Yeah, and you're right. The technology behind the scenes is quite complicated. What we've been doing is we've been going through and working through the requirements with the Department of Social Protection and with TADA Consultancy Services, who are the crowd who the department contracted to develop and build the NERSA system. Mm-hmm. And we've been working with them on the auto-enrolment requirements and then taking it away to actually look at how we integrate that into our system, People XD, so that we can make it as seamless or user-friendly as possible, so that you as an employer, you don't need to get caught up in that detailed complexity. We'll keep it as simple as possible. You'll have the option of retrieving the AAPNs within the system and running the whole payroll with the automatic application of the auto-enrolment rules, and that we'll then send the contribution file out at the end of the payroll run as well. So we've tried to take it away from the complexity to give just a really user-friendly front-end screen where they can see everything and do everything they need to within the system.
That sounds great. But I think, Adrian, we're going to take it one step further, aren't we?
Yeah, for sure. So we're going to have a conference in Dublin on the 12th of November. And as you can hear from Darren, the complexity that's involved in all of this is huge. So we want to make sure customers are aware of what they need to do, what their obligations are. And between now and then, customers will get invites to that conference. And we are putting together a number of packages to support our customers in managing their way through this, because, there is so much to do. And we've been working on this. I think Darren's been working on this for maybe 2 years now, right? We've been aware of it. So on the day in Dublin, you're going to hear all about this and what you need to do as a business.
That sounds great. And we've developed compliance packages depending on different levels, because some customers will want to do it themselves and feel really confident. There'll be other customers that want us to handhold them and white glove treatment. So we've got a whole range.
So we'll have a range of packages that will suit, yes.
And we'll send some communications out about those over the next coming weeks. But the big message is, we can't be burying our heads in the sand. 1st of January is not that far away. Mm-hmm. So please speak to your account manager or your CSM. In the meantime, if you've got any questions, they're all up to speed.
Yes, absolutely.
And look out for that invitation to our auto-enrolment conference on the 12th of November in Dublin. Thank you very much, Darren. Thanks, Adrian.
Thank you.